Good morning, students. Let me share my screen. Check if the screen is visible. Yes, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yesterday we have started with the numericals related to context-free grammar. Okay. And we have solved few problems in yesterday's lecture. We'll continue solving more such problems today. Okay. So just to quickly recollect, in yesterday's lecture, we had seen uh, some problems like language of strings starting with A. Then we have constructed 0 raised to n, 1 raised to 2n. Then we have also constructed a raised to n, b, a raised to n. So in all these problems, what we have seen is first we need to write the language strings. Okay. After we write the strings, then we need to design the production rules. And once we design the production rules, we should write the remaining three tuples. And then one derivation we will be solving to show how one of the strings is getting accepted by that particular grammar. So on similar lines, let us start with few more examples today. So all of you take down next problem over here. Okay. Next question. Language L is equal to, all of you take note, language L is equal to 0 raised to n, 1 raised to m, where m is greater than n, where m is greater than n, and n is greater than or equal to 1. All of you take down the problem. 0 raised to n, 1 raised to m, okay, where m is greater than n and n is greater than or equal to 1. Now what is meaning of this problem? M is greater than n. What is given? M is greater than n. So number of ones, which is nothing but your m, should be greater than number of zeros, which is nothing but your n. So in this language, number of ones should be more than number of zeros. Correct? Number of ones should be more than number of zeros. What is the second condition given over here? That n is greater than or equal to 1. What is the second condition given? N is greater than or equal to 1. So what it indicates? That we have at least one zero in our string. We have at least one zero in our string because n is greater than or equal to 1. So now my dear students, if I consider value of n as 1, if I consider my first value of n as 1, okay, so I'll be having 1 0 in my string, right? I'll be having 1 0 in my string. So how many ones I'll be having in that case? I should have minimum 2 ones. Why? Because m is greater than n. So if my value of n is 1, if my value of n is 1, minimum value for m will be 2. Then m can be 3 also, m can be 4 also, m can be 5 also, and so on. But if the value of n is 1, then minimum value for m should be 2 because m is greater than n. Because m is greater than n, right? So if the value of n is 1, first value of m will be 2, then next value of m could be 3, 4, 5, and so on, right? Second, when my value of n is 2, if my value of n is 2, then what will be the minimum value for m? Minimum value for m will be 3 in that case. Minimum value of m will be 3 in that case. So again, m can be 3 or 4 or 5 because m should be maintained greater than n. M should be maintained greater than n. So with this, if I try to write strings for my language, how the strings will be? Suppose value of n is 1. So if value of n is 1, if the value of n is 1, then number of zeros will be 1. So in that case, I should have minimum 2 ones. I should have minimum 2 ones because m is greater than n. I may have 3 ones also. I may have 4 ones also. I may have 5 ones also, and so on. Right? This is with value of n as 1. This is with value of n as 1. Are you getting this? Then if my value of n is 2, if value of n is 2, then I'll have 2 zeros. Correct? If my value of n is 2, I'll have 2 zeros. In that case, m should be minimum 3 in number. M should be minimum 3 in number. So in that case, ones will be 3. Correct? Ones will be 3. Or it may be 4 also. Or it may be 4 also. Are you getting this? Yes, students, are you able to understand this? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Next, suppose if I have 3 zeros. Suppose if I have 3 zeros. Then in that case, how many ones I will be having? Minimum I will be having 4 ones, or I may have 5 ones also, and so on. Right? So if value of n is 1, m can be 2, 3, 4, and so on. If value of n is 2, m can be 3, 4, 5, and so on. If value of n is 3, m can be 4, 5, 6, and so on. So accordingly, if we try to generate strings out of 0 and 1, these are some sample strings that I have written. Are these strings understood, students? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now let us think of writing grammar for this. Let us think of writing grammar for this. See, my dear students, the moment I get a 0, okay, I should always always ensure that I keep my number of ones more than 0. I keep my number of ones more than 0. So initially, see, initially when I'm writing this grammar, for every 0, I am writing a 1. Okay, for every 0, I am writing a 1. With this, what will happen? With this, what will happen? For 1 0 1 1 will be sufficient. But whether only 1 1 is sufficient? No. Here I need one more 1 in between. Here I need 2 more ones. Here I need 3 more ones. Are you getting this? So if I'm taking 1 0, suppose if I'm taking 1 0, okay, if I'm taking 1 0, then for 1 0 I have one corresponding 1. What remains in between is a single 1. Correct? In my second string, for this 0, I have this corresponding 1. But in this case, I have in between 2 ones. For this string, for this 0, I have one corresponding 1. What remains in between, I have 3 ones. Right? So for 1 0, I have corresponding 1 1. But in between, I should be able to get more number of ones. Are you getting this? In between, I should get more number of ones, and minimum I should get 1 1 in between. Correct? Minimum I should get 1 1 in between, because my first string is 0 1 1. Right? So for that 0, if I have a corresponding 1 in the right, in middle I'll have a single 1. Then next time I need 2 ones. Then next time I need 3 ones, and so on. So it is as good as something like 1 plus. Right? Minimum 1 1 is required. Correct? This is for repeating the number of ones. But my dear students, our zeros are also repeating. Correct? So if I have 2 zeros, suppose. So for this 0, I have one corresponding 1. Then for this second 0, I again have this corresponding 1. So for this, I can apply this again and again. So if I want to repeat my zeros in my string, I can apply the same s gives 0 s1. So for every 0, it will give me 1 1. For every 0, it will give me one additional 1 into it. Right? What remains in between here is single 1. Correct? Again, if I see next string, for this 0, I have 1 1. For this 0, I have 1 1. What remains in between is again 2 times 1. Are you getting this? So this sounds very similar to that of my first 3 strings also. So for every 0, I have a corresponding 1 on the right. What remains in between is 1 1 or 2 ones or 3 ones, and so on. So for that one pattern, see what I do. So I go to another non-terminal, because I need minimum 1 0 in my string because n is greater than or equal to 1. N is greater than or equal to 1. So minimum 1 0 has to be processed. Minimum 1 0 has to be processed. And after I process minimum 1 0, what remains in between is any, I have more number of ones in between. I have more number of ones in between. So my dear students, now see, if I ask you to process a string like 011, if I ask you to process a string like 011, so I have only 1 0 and 1 1. So directly I'll apply S gives 0 A1. Directly I'll apply S gives 0 A1. I'll apply S gives 0 A1. Correct. So here I'll apply S gives 0 A1. Which production rule I am using? 0 A1. Now, what is there in between here? Remaining 1. So I can use A gives 1. Right? So I can use A gives 1. So my string 011 is accepted. What if I have more number of ones in between, like this second string where I have now 2 ones or 3 ones? If this starts incrementing, then I can use this pattern of A gives 1A to increment the number of ones in between. Correct? So how the derivation will look like for this string? First I'll apply S gives 0 A1 because I have a single 0. Directly I'll go to A. So I am using production rule 0 S gives 0 A1. Then next time what I do, I need 2 ones. So I'll use 1A. I'll use production rule A gives 1A, right? And then I'll use A gives 1. And then I'll use A gives 1. So my string 0 and 3 times 1 is getting accepted. So for between whatever extra number of ones I'm having in my string, that can be accepted by writing A gives 1A. I can keep on adding those many number of A's. If I have only one single 0 in my string, I'll directly come to S gives 0A1. But now suppose I have a string with 2 zeros. Suppose I have a string with 2 zeros. Suppose I take example of 00111. So what I'll do, first I'll apply 0 gives, S gives 0 S1. I'll first apply S gives 0 S1. This will give me 1 0 and 1 1, but I need one more 0 now. So next time I'll apply S gives 0 A1. Next time I apply 0 gives, S gives 0 A1. So my 2 zeros and 2 ones are done. 2 zeros and 2 ones are done. Now I need only this one. So I can write A gives 1. I can write A gives 1. So if you want to increment the number of zeros, first apply 0 S1. And when you want to shift for only adding the number of ones in between, you go to 0 A1 and start adding those 1A from this. Right? So what will be our, so this becomes our production rules. This becomes our production rules, right? So what is our Vn of this example? S and A. What is Vt of this example? 0 and 1. What is starting symbol of our grammar? It is S, which belongs to Vn. This is our production rule, and these are the 3 examples. Is the numerical understood, my dear students? Yes?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes. So I'll give you
Yes,
two.
sir.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 minutes. Take down this. Take down. I'll give you 2 minutes. Just write down this problem in your notebook. Write down these strings. Write down the production rules. Write down the 3 tuples and solve 3 strings that I have solved on board right now. Done, all of you? Yes. Shall we start with the next example now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Take down next problem. Language L is equal to 0 raised to m, 1 raised to n, 0 raised to n, 1 raised to m, where m and n both are greater than or equal to 1. Zero raised to m, 1 raised to n, 0 raised to n, 1 raised to m, where both m and n are greater than or equal to 1. Yes, all of you just pay attention now. See, what we see in this language is I have same number of zeros and same number of ones on the extreme part. Okay. Then inside that I have same number of ones and same number of zero in inner part. You can see the power of m, 0 and 1 on the outer part, and then power of n for 1 and 0 in the inner part is same. And both this power should be greater than or equal to 1. Both this power should be greater than or equal to 1. Correct? So initially if I assume, say for example, initially if I assume value of m is 1, if I assume value of m is 1, what can be the probable values for n? N also has to be minimum 1, or it can be 2, or it can be 3. Correct? Second, suppose if my value of m is 2, what can be the values for n? Again, with m is equal to 2, value of n can be 1, 2 and 3. See, here it is not told that m is greater than n. Be careful in understanding this question. Here it is given that both m and n are greater than or equal to 1. But there is no relationship between m and n. So if my value of m is 1, n can be 1, 2, 3. If my value of m is 2, again n can be 1, 2, 3. Similarly, if my value of m is again 3, n can again be 1, 2, 3 and so on. So in this case, m and n both are maintained greater than or equal to 1. So if I try to generate strings out of these conditions now, if I try to generate strings out of this condition, so suppose if I have value of m as 1, if my value of m is 1, what will happen? This 0 and this 1 which I have on the outer parts will be there. Correct? Value of m is 1. Then inside that I am taking first value of n as 1. So if value of n is also 1, the string generated will be 0, 1, 0, 1. Are you getting this? Next, if my value of m is 1, this is outer 0 and 1. Inside that, if I take value of n as 2, string generated will be like this, because n will be 2 now. So internally I'll have 2 ones and 2 zeros. And value of m is 1. So outside I'll have 1, 0 and 1, 1. Similarly, if my value of n is 3, outside I'll have 1, 0 and 1, 1, because m is 1. And inside I'm having n as 3. So I'll have 3 ones and 3 zeros. Correct? All these 3 strings I have written considering value of m as 1. Value of m as 1. Now next, if my value of m is 2. So if my value of m is 2, outside I'll have 2 zeros and 2 ones, because value of m is now 2. So here I'll have 2 zeros and 2 ones. Now inside that what I have? First value of n is 1. So inside that, if the value of n is 1, I'll have 1 0 and 1 1. Sorry, 1 1 and 1 0, right? Then next I have 2 zeros and 2 ones outside. M is 2. With n again as 2, I'll have 2 ones and 2 zeros inside. Again, if I take value of n as 3, then I'll have 3 ones and 3 zeros inside. Correct? Now all this is with value of m as 2. All of this with value of m as 2. If my value of m is 3, then what will happen? I'll have 3 zeros outside and 3 ones outside. Inside, first value of n will be 1. If the value of n is 1, I'll have 1 0 inside. Then 3 zeros and 3 ones. Value of n is 2. So I'll have 2 ones and 2 zeros inside. And 3 zeros and 3 ones. And I have value of n also as 3. So I'll have 3 ones and 3 zeros inside. Are these strings understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. Do we have roll
Yes,
number
sir.
33 in the lecture? Roll number 33.
Yes, sir.
Is the strings understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have roll number 18? Roll number 18. Yes. Are the strings understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we need to write grammar for this. Right? So outside number of zeros should be maintained with outside number of ones. Correct? So this is same like 0s1. This will help me to maintain same number of zeros outside with same number of ones. Correct? And if I want to repeat more number of zeros and ones, I'll keep on repeating s gives 0s1. So if I have 2 zeros, I'll apply s is equal to 0s1 again. Are you getting this? Now, if I want to jump for inner pattern, now inner pattern is a different pattern. It is something like 1 followed by 0 on the right hand side. So that I'll use in another non-terminal, that is A. So the moment I want to switch to that second pattern, I'll go to non-terminal A. And in that non-terminal A, I'll have another pattern of 1A0. I'll have another pattern of 1A0, which will help me to maintain the count of n which is there inside, where 1 should be followed by 0. Where 1 should be followed by 0. And now internally we know that minimum count of n is 1. So if minimum count of n is 1, at least 1 1 0 should come in between internally. So that terminating I have written with help of 1 0. Now my dear students, see how my strings will be accepted. If I have string like 0 1 0 1, if I have string like 0 1 0 1, or if I have a string like 0 1 1 0 0 1, or this, the first line strings. I am talking about strings which are written in the first line. These strings. I am talking about these strings now. So in these strings, what is there? In these strings, value of m is 1. Value of m is 1. So when the value of m is 1, I need only 1 0 and 1 1 outside. And directly I need to come inside for my pattern of n. So in that case, if I have these type of strings, I'll directly apply production rule 0a1, because I need only 1 0 and 1 1 outside. I don't need more number of zeros outside. Are you getting this? Because I need only 1 0 and 1 1 outside. So if I'm dealing with strings of these types, where my value of m is 1, no matter what is the value of n can be 1 2 3 4 5 6, anything. But if my value of m is 1, I need only 1 0 outside followed by 1 1 on the right hand side. So in that case, I'll apply production rule directly as gives 0a1. I'll apply directly production rule as gives 0a1. Are you getting this? Yes. So once I come inside now, so I'll take one sample string over here, so it will be better for us to understand. So if I take string that is 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. So this 0 and this 1 is done. Now I need this pattern. Correct? So what I'll do? This I have applied S gives 0, A1. Now I'll apply A gives 1A0. I'll apply A gives 1A0. So now this 1 and this 0 is also done. Correct? This 1 and this 0 is also done. Now what remains in between is 1, 0. So for this 1, 0, what I'll do? A gives 1, 0 is there. A gives 1, 0 is there. Yes. Is it understood, students? How I have generated string out of it in this example? Yes, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now suppose
Yes,
I
sir.
have more number of zeros outside. I'll take, suppose I have two zeros outside. So if I have strings of this type, right? One sample I'll take, suppose 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. So now I need two zeros outside. So here I'll use that S production rule first. S gives 0, S1. This will give me first 0 and first 1. Now I need one more 0 for my outside. And then I need to jump for the next non-terminal A. Correct? So first time I'll use S gives 0, S1. Next time I'll use S gives 0, A1. S gives 0, A1. So I'm done with two zeros and two ones. Now what is remaining here inside is 1, 0. So I can directly use A gives 1, 0. A gives 1, 0. I cannot write here null, my dear students. I have written 1, 0 over here. Why? Because n also should be greater than or equal to 1. If I write here as null, n can be treated as 0. Correct? Because if I directly come from S gives 0, A1, and if I make my A as null, I will not have any value for my n in that case. So to maintain n greater than or equal to 1, our terminating condition I can say for here in this grammar production rule is 1, 0. Is it clear? So what can be our terminal, non-terminal symbols? Our non-terminal symbol are S and A. Our terminal symbols are 0 and 1. Our starting symbol is S, which belongs to Pn. And these two examples you can solve. Is it clear? I'll wait for 2-3 minutes. Take down these strings. Take down the grammar production rules. Write the 3 tuples and solve 2 strings as I have solved on the board. Done, all of you? Shall we move to the next
Yes, sir.
problem?
Yes.
All of you,
Yes,
please
sir.
make sure that if I am giving you time to write, you are writing it. You should not be roaming here and there. Okay? In online lectures, you are supposed to sit at your home, and whatever timings are given, 9:15 to 1:30 or whatever it is, you should be sitting on a proper table and attending the lectures. Make sure that you are not doing any kind of mischief at your end. So whenever I give you time to make a note, make sure you are writing it in notes immediately. I may ask you to upload the notes within half an hour after the lecture on Google Classroom, and that may carry marks for your ISE for now. So be attentive. I will not give you extra time for uploading. Immediately after the lecture, you people will be supposed to upload whenever I tell you. So make sure when I teach you and if I give you time to write the problem in the notebook, you are writing it immediately at that point in time. Because immediately after the lecture, I may open a link and I'll ask you to upload your pages on Google Classroom within 10 minutes. Is it clear? So you are supposed to sit on a proper desk and attend the lectures and make notes there itself. For that, I am giving you a pause in the lectures. Let us move to the next problem now. All of you take down next problem. Language L is equal to A raised to I, B raised to J, C raised to K, where J is equal to I or J is equal to K. Yes, all of you take down the problem. A raised to I, B raised to J, C raised to K, where J is equal to I or J is equal to K. Done? All of you now pay attention. Very important problem. This is very important problem. Pay attention now. Okay, so now in this problem, you can see that there are two parts. There are two parts. One is that first condition is that J is equal to I. Correct? Second is OR with J is equal to K. So first let us focus on J is equal to I. First let us focus on J is equal to I. And then we will think of what could be the grammar for J is equal to K. Okay, as it is or this or that, we can create an or in our grammar also, right? So we'll focus right now first on J is equal to I. We'll focus on J is equal to I. Now what is meaning of J is equal to I in this problem? J is equal to I, which is I can also say that it is I is equal to J, correct? In other words, so what it indicates? It indicates that number of A's is equal to number of B's in my string, right? What it indicates? It indicates that number of A's is equal to number of B's. When I say J is equal to I, what it indicates? It indicates that number of A's in my string is equal to number of B's, correct? In such case, do I have any restriction on number of C? No. So I can have no C, I can have one C, I can have two C's, I can have three C's, I can have any number of C's. I can have any number of C's. When I'm dealing with condition J is equal to I, see, when I'm dealing with the condition J is equal to I, so when I'm dealing with J is equal to I, number of A's should be equal to number of B's. but there is no restriction on how many C you should have in your string. There is no restriction on it, right? So you can have no C in your string, or you can have 1C or 2C or 3C or 4C or any number of C's. Are you getting this? And it is not told also that what is count of I, J and K. So they can start from 0 also. They can start from 0 also. So when I say that I is equal to J, or when I say that J is equal to I, initial value of I and J can be 0. Initial value of I and J can be 0. Correct? So when I'm dealing with the condition J is equal to I, see here, when I'm dealing with the condition J is equal to I, my first possible value for this I and J could be 0. Correct? Next possible value for I and J can be 1. Next possible value for I and J can be 2. In this case, what can be the possible values for K? 0, 1, 2, and so on. In this case also, what can be the possible values for K? 0, 1, 2, and so on. And what could be the possible values for K? 0, 1, 2, and so on. Are you getting this? We have to maintain J is equal to I. Number of A's should be equal to number of B's, but we don't have binding on number of C's in that condition. When I am talking only about J is equal to I. Is this understood? How I have calculated I and J and K for the condition J is equal to I? Yes, students?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now when I and J are 0, when I and J are 0, what it means? That I'll have no A's and no B's in my string. Correct? It indicates that I have no A's and no B's in my string. Now in that also, my K can be 0. And if K is also 0, what will be my string in that case?
Null.
Very good. My string will be null. Now I and J are still 0, but K is 1. So string will be C, because K is 1 means K is nothing but power of C. So I'll have 1C, or I may have 2 C's. Are you getting this? So this 3 strings which I have written here, I is equal to J. That is nothing but J is equal to I. And that value of I and J are 0. Value of I and J are 0. With the value of K as 0, 1 and 2. With the value of K as 0, 1 and 2. Right? Now, if my value of I and J are 1, if my value of I and J are 1, then I'll have AB in my string, because I and J are 1 means I have 1A and 1B in my string. In that again, K can take values like 0, 1 and 2. So if K is 0, I'll have no C. If K is 1, I'll have 1 C. And if K is 2, I will have 2 C's. So these 3 strings which I have written are on the basis of I and J is equal to 1, where K can take values 0, 1 and 2. Again, now if my I and J are 2, then I'll have, oh, sorry, is the screen visible properly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if the value of A and B, if the value of I and J are 2, so the string will be AABB. String will be AABB. And in that case, again, if K takes 0, I'll have no C's, or I'll have 1 C if K is 1, or I'll have 2 C's if K is 2, and so on. Is this pattern understood up till now, whatever I have written? Any doubts in this? Yes? Yes, students? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is the
Yes, sir.
condition understood how I took I and J as 0 first? In that I took values of K from 0, 1, 2. Then I took I and J as 1. Then again in that I'll have K 0, 1 and 2. Then I take I and J as 2. Again in that I'll have value of K as 0, 1 and 2. Right? And possible strings when I substitute those values are written here. Right now we are only writing considering J is equal to I. We haven't written anything for J is equal to K. Okay? We'll come back to that J is equal to K bit later on. Right now we are focusing only on J is equal to I. We are focusing only on J is equal to I. Now if I try to write production rule for this, see. So I write S is equal to, I have two patterns in this basically. One pattern is dealing with how I maintain number of A's is equal to number of B's. For every A, I should have a corresponding B, correct? For every A, I should have a corresponding B. For every A, I need a 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 B, right? So it is something like A non-terminal B, correct? We have done this. This is something like 0 raised to n, 1 raised to n, or A raised to n, B raised to n. We have solved this problem yesterday, correct? So that is one pattern that we need to think. What is other pattern? After those A's and B's, what is coming in my string? C's are coming, and that C is coming either in the form of null or single C or two C's, which is nothing but like C star, which is nothing but like C star. That also pattern we have discussed yesterday, right? So see how I write here, my dear students. I write S is equal to capital X, capital Y. S is equal to capital X, capital Y. Where now this capital X will try to represent I is equal to J. This capital X is trying to represent I is equal to J. And this capital Y will try to represent the values of K. And we know that in our string, first I will have A's and B's. In the sequence, first I'll have A's and B's. And after that I'll have C. After that I'll have C. So first my X pattern will come. That X pattern will ensure that my number of A's are kept same as that of number of B's. And after that A's and B's are completed, then my non-terminal Y will come. And that Y will help me to maintain my number of C's in my string. So sequence will be X and Y. X will be for balancing number of A's with number of B's, and Y will be for maintaining any number of C's. So what will be X in that case now? This X is trying to maintain number of A's with number of B's, and they can be null also, because I and J can be 0 also. So when I and J are 0, directly I'll apply X gives null, correct? If I and J are 1, then I'll apply X gives AXB, so that I'll have 1A and 1B. And then I'll make X is equal to null. Are you getting this? If my value of I and J are 2, then I'll apply first X gives AXB. Again X gives AXB. I'll get 2 A's and 2 B's, and then I'll make X as null. So I'm getting I and J as 2. Is it understood, my dear students? So this becomes my X, which helps me to maintain I is equal to J. What is the second thing? Y. What is Y doing? Y is maintaining C's, any number of C's. So it is CY or null. So if I have no C's, directly I can apply Y gives null. So I'll have no C's. If I need one C, I'll apply Y gives CY, and then Y gives null. So I'll have only one C. If I need two C's, I'll apply Y gives CY once. Then again I'll apply Y gives CY, so I'll get two C's, and then Y gives null. Okay, I'll take one example to show here. Say for example, I want to accept string like CC, where now I and J are 0 and K is 2. So I will apply S gives XY, correct? First I'll apply X gives XY. Then I apply X gives null. Why apply X gives null? Because I don't have A and B in my string. So I make that X as null by applying X gives null. Then in Y, I need two C's. So I'll apply first Y gives CY once. Again for second C, I'll apply Y gives CY. And then I'll apply Y gives null. So my string CC is accepted. So my string CC is accepted. Is it understood, my dear students? Now suppose I take some value for A and B. I take some value for A and B. Suppose I take AA, BB, C. Suppose I take AA, BB and C. So in this case, S gives xy, first is applied. Then I need two A's and two B's. So for that I'll apply AXB twice first. AXB, then again AXB. You write down the production rules over here, okay? While you write in your notebooks. So then I'll apply X gives null. So A's and B's are done. I need one Y. I need one Y. So I'll apply Y gives CY. And then I'll apply Y gives null. Then I'll apply Y gives null. Is it understood, students? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Now all
Yes,
this
sir.
that
Yes,
all
sir.
that we have seen right now is for J is equal to I. What we have seen right now is for J is equal to I. Okay. Now what is the second counterpart of this problem? J is equal to K. What is the second counterpart of this problem? J is equal to K. Okay. So again, this will also have this kind of condition that J is equal to K with J and K as 0, with J and K as 1, and J and K as 2. In that again, I can be 0, 1, 2. I can be 0, 1, 2 over here. I can be 0, 1, 2 over here. Correct? What will be the strings now for this? When J and K are 0. What is meaning of J and K are 0? I don't have B's and C's in my string. I don't have B's and C's in my string. Right? And no A. So string will be null. Then only A, 2 times A. Right? If J is equal to K means, and both are 0 means I don't have B's and C's. In that case, I can be 0, 1, 2. What is I? Number of A's. I is number of A's. So it can be null A 2 times A. Next is J and K are equal with the value of J and K as 1. With the value of J and K as 1. So I'll have 1B and 1C. I'll have 1B and 1C with no A or with 1A or with 2 A's. So BC initially indicates value of I as 0. Then ABC indicates value of I as 1. AABC indicates value of I as 2. Again, J and K can be 2. So it will be BBCC, or it can be ABBCC or AABBCC. Is it understood how I have written strings for J is equal to K? Yes? Yes, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, if I want to write grammar for this part, I can create OR for this over here, right? This XY is the pattern for J is equal to I. So this is this or this. So for this pattern now, I'm writing OR here with another non-terminal UV. Now what U will indicate? U will indicate me A's. See, because in my string first A's will come, then B's and C's will come. So X was representing me I and J because they are coming in sequence, they are coming first. And then those C's are coming. That's why X was related to I and J and Y was related to K. But here in this case, I will be represented by U and J and K will be represented by V. Because in the sequence of strings, first I'll have A, then B, and then C. Right? So U will represent me A's. So it is any number of A's. So as I have written it for C's, same way I can write it for A's. U is equal to AU or null. And what will be V? V will be maintaining number of B's with number of C's. So it will be BVC or null. So if I take string like this, suppose if I want to accept a string like ABC, right? So I'll use S gives UV first. S gives UV. Then U is representing me now A's. So I need one A. So I'm applying AU once. U gives AU once. Then I am applying U gives null. So one A is done. Then I need one B and one C. So I'll apply B gives BBC. This will give me one B and one C. Then I'll apply B gives null. So my string ABC will be accepted. And suppose if I have more number of A's and B's, one example of that sort I'll take here before I close. Suppose I have string like A, B, B, C, C. So how it will happen? S gives UV, then U gives AUV. One A is done. So U gives null I'll make. Right? You write the production rules over here, whatever are getting applied. Then V, I'll take BVC once, one B and C I have got. Then again I'll take BVC, 2B and 2C I have got. Then I'll make V null. So I get string ABBCC. Is it clear? So this becomes my final set of production rules. So what are my non-terminal symbols now? S, X, Y, U, and V. See, here we have 5 non-terminal symbols. What are the terminal symbols? A, B, and C. What is starting symbol? It is S, which belongs to non-terminal. And this is our production rule. Is the numerical understood? Yes, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Was it
Yes, sir.
interesting?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So take down the strings first. After you take down the strings, see whatever I have written here, j is equal to I, j is equal to k, and all these substitutions. This was for your understanding. It is not expected that you write these things in paper. So in order for you to make understand how strings are getting generated, I had written those I, j, and k values. When you solve this in paper, you write these strings as per your understanding. You generate these strings. Look at these strings and write the production rules first. Based on the production rule, complete the 3 tuples and solve 1 or 2 strings. Okay, I'll give you 2-3 minutes. 2-3 minutes are remaining. Just take down this problem in your notebook. Done, all of you? Yes? Yes, students?
Yes, sir.
Just let me take the attendance before we close. Just hold on.